defensively speaking, against Seattle, the Browns defense had a chance to get off the field and leave Seattle with a win. Instead, Geno Smith led the Seattle Seahawks on a 57-yard game-winning touchdown drive in under a minute and a half. This time around, after Dustin Hopkins missed that field goal, I know there's some people out there, including myself, who are like, you got to be kidding me. The Browns are going to lose 31-30. Lamar's going to run the clock out. But the Browns defense made the biggest plays when it mattered most. Greg Newsome with a pick six in the fourth quarter. Then they forced, it wasn't a three and out.
Picks are his thing now.
Picks are his thing. It wasn't a three and out, but they got one first down and then had to punt. And unlike Seattle, the Browns defense, when it mattered most, showed up. And I do think that is I don't think I know.
Yeah, let me correct. I think you said he missed a field goal. He missed an extra point.
Yeah, so 31-30, missed the extra point. But then the defense, when they had a chance to get the ball back, to give Deshaun the opportunity to do what he did and lead that team down the field, showed up when it mattered most. They needed that.
Let me tell you something, guys. When they fall behind 14-0 early, okay, the defense is like, well, Deshaun's already thrown a pick, and then there's a 3 and out. And if you were the defense, and because the defense got their ass kicked by Baltimore the first time. We know there were circumstances.
Turnovers, short fields.
But the bottom line is they got their ass kicked.
They didn't play well.
It would have been easy at that point for the defense to kind of be like, well, here we go again. We're down 14-0 already. What are we supposed to do? But the defense really played great after those first two, the first touchdown, they didn't give it up. And then obviously the Ravens got a field goal, so they got at the end of the first quarter, it was 17-3, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's 17-3 at the end of the first quarter. And outside of the Odell Beckham touchdown, kudos to Odell for one moment in time, he looked like the old Odell on that play.
Right.
But outside of that play, the Ravens really didn't do much after the first quarter on offense.
Sort of like
did not do nothing.
It was the Seattle game all over again where they turned the water off.
Yeah.
And is that the Odell play? Is that what you're showing there?
That was right there, yes.
The one thing that I'm a little concerned about, we talked about, I mentioned on the show multiple times, Juan Thornhill had a lot of big tackles this year where it didn't really notice it in the moment. If Juan Thornhill's on the field, that's not a touchdown. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. That's Rodney McLeod that missed him. Yeah. If Thornhill just left with a calf injury, and that's exactly the type of play that I'm talking about, where in the moment it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but that's a touchdown-saving tackle.
That's right. And then who knows? Maybe you stop him for a field goal.
And on the Keaton Mitchell touchdown run, Emerson and Delpit also took. Now Mitchell's lightning fast.
Yeah, he's
and
really
I think
fast.
he outran the angles.
That run.
But Emerson and Delpit both got embarrassed by how fast Mitchell was and how badly they underestimated his speed.
Yeah,
or they took terrible angles.
He could fly.
That was bad, but that guy, that was impressive.
So I'm a little concerned about Thornhill because now he's probably going to miss a little bit of time with this calf.
They are saying it's going to be.
Well, no, I mean it's a calf injury, with Burrow. He's probably out.
Yeah, and as a quarterback, you can manage it a little.
As a safety,
you can as a safety.
So he's going to miss some. I would imagine he's going to miss some time with that, and that's a little bit of a concern because I'm telling you, man, he's so many times this year, and that play is a perfect example. I've said it on the show. He makes plays that don't look big in the moment, but if he doesn't make that play, it's going for 6. But overall, the defense played really, really well.
Shout out to the dude. Who's the guy? Listen, they just pulled him out of their back pocket. Like, who's this Ford guy? Like he got a pick?
He gave up the Odell play, though. But he did get the pick.
It was a terrible throw. Lamar threw a terrible ball.
That was the horrible throw.
I don't know
Mike Ford.
There.
Mike Ford.
Yeah.
They signed him as a special teams ace from Atlanta, G. He was one of the guys when they hired Bubba Ventrone.
Bubba
said, you're one of the best special teams gunners in football. I need you on my team. And he's a slot cornerback who plays in those kind of situations.
I remember that.
The good news is in terms of Thornhill, and I don't know how long he's going to be out. The next 2 weeks, you're not exactly facing sterling passing games in Pittsburgh and Denver.
Yeah, that helps.
That helps. Now, both those teams have good receivers, but they don't, and Russell Wilson's playing a little better. I guess I shouldn't kill him, but they're not very good. You got the Rams after that, then the Jaguars, then the Bears. I mean, again, he could miss a month.
Yeah.
But let's see. If he came back for the Jacksonville game, that would be almost a month. We'll see. He'd miss 3 games. But, he's a loss. There's no doubt. McLeod doesn't have the ability at this point. McLeod's old, so he can't. Yeah. He's okay player, but he's not Thornhill.
I mean, the defensive line set the tone yesterday, and Lamar said that after the game. He said that, Myles and those guys just cranked up the heat and cranked up the pressure on him. even if they didn't get there, and Myles did get home a couple of times, but even when they didn't get there, he was they had him operating under duress most of the day.
Back-to-back sacks for Myles Garrett. I was on the internet going crazy. I said, listen, Myles, is it too much to ask? I know you got one. Can you give me another one? Back-to-back sacks. And another week, come on now. Jordan Elliott with the block punt, or block field goal?
Yeah.
Jordan Elliott.
We didn't talk about that.
Oh, my goodness. Like, look, shout out to, all I can say shout out to you. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what kind of game it's got into you, but now he's now up front looking to make plays, not just be up there. He's a playmaker. That was a huge
We've talked about it before. It takes defensive tackles a couple of years to sort of get their sea legs and find their bearings in the NFL. Plus, I think the veterans that they brought in have had a lot to do with it. Like, who is he learning from before?
Yeah, and he's not being asked to do as much or play as much.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? He's playing a lot less snaps, so he's fresher later in the game. We're even seeing that for Myles Garrett. Like, you can sit, like in the past, you didn't want to sit Myles at all. Not that you really want to sit him, but like you want to keep him fresher. And if you look at the only criticism we ever had of Myles Garrett was his consistency throughout the season and his consistency without the game. He'd be a little up and down, and we're not seeing that this year. Like, he played another great game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an afterthought to some degree because we're getting used to it now. He's just playing a great game every week.
And to your point, there's a lot of first downs where he's not on the field now because they're getting him extra blows and they're saving his legs for third down situations.
And he's making big plays late in the game, which is something he was very inconsistent with in the past.
Obo Aranco.
He's playing really well.
He's in at end. Myles Garrett's not even in.
No.
He jumps up, bats the pass up.
Yeah.
Got the pick six.
Darius Smith's has played better the last few weeks. He's playing well. Again, I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. Who's not playing well in their defense?
I thought JOK was playing.
Nobody.
They shut all that read option stuff down. Like, JOK was screaming.
Lamar's running game was not much of a factor. What was his final stats in rushing?
Not very high. Real quick, while I look that up, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
For you guys. It is funny that we talked about, or you just mentioned snap counts.
Yeah.
Do you think Myles Garrett is playing a higher percentage of snaps this season than last season?
Well, obviously, even though I thought it was less, he's obviously playing higher, otherwise you wouldn't ask that.
He actually is playing 80% of snaps, which is higher. He played 77 last year. So similar, but it is slightly higher.
Yeah, but
the rest of the guys.
It actually, I bet you it's misleading because, remember, he got hurt. And I bet you, remember he got hurt around this time last year?
Oh, yeah.
I bet you early in the season he was playing a higher percentage.
I mean, there was years he was here where he was in the 90s.
Right.
Which is insane.
And I bet you early last season before he got hurt, he was in the 90s, is my guess. I don't know that. But remember, after he got hurt, they couldn't play him as much. And that's for a full season, that number.
I was saying, so outside of Myles, though, and this is what I was kind of alluding to.
Yeah.
Who's right around what he was playing. And you're right, Myles. No, he played in 2021, he played 78% for a full season. So about 80. So in the same range.
All right, go ahead.
Everyone else on the Browns defensive line is right in the sweet spot, about 60%, 65%.
Keep them fresh.
They have so many guys. I mean, I'm counting right now, and I apologize for counting on the air, but this just came up. But Za'Darius, 67%. Tomlinson, 64%. Ogbo, 61%. Jordan Elliott is at 55%. Mo Hurst at 40%. Shelby Harris at 37%. They have so many guys they rotate in and out.
Right.
That in the fourth quarter, and we mentioned this earlier, physicality on both sides of the line, especially in the trenches, they just look way fresher, and that's a testament to how Jim Schwartz runs his defense.
And that's what Philly does. Philly just rolls guys in, rolls in new legs, every
and
snap.
especially a guy like Shelby Harris, who's made more of an impact the last few weeks. Like, he's an older player.
Yeah.
So if you're only asking him to play one time every 3 downs, well, he's going to be able to go full bore on those plays because you're not asking him to play that much.
Right.
I thought Schwartz did a nice thing. I think Schwartz did a really nice. They didn't get home on it too much, but they was bringing the cat blitzes, the corner blitzes. I thought they disguised it well. I thought Greg Newsome blitzed really well. He got a half a sack with Myles Garrett on that. Usually they use the mug technique and have Anthony Walker or maybe JOK at the line of scrimmage and making the linemen a little confused. But I thought he did a good job of bringing the corners this time. And then one of the most impressive stats that I saw was when they talked about Myles Garrett being one of the only few players to have 7 consecutive seasons with 10-plus sacks. And for you
all the other guys are all-time legends.
And you're looking at the numbers and the names on the side.
You got the list here. Reggie White, John Randall, DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Bruce Smith, Lawrence Taylor.
Is
Aren't
Jared
they
Allen,
all Hall of Famers?
I was going to say Jared Allen's the one I'm not sure of, but I think the rest of them are Hall of Famers.
He
might be.
And Jared Allen should be a Hall of Famer.
He might be.
I mean, these are all-time guys.
Yeah, these are. If you play defensive end growing up,
6 straight seasons, 10+ sacks. First of all, you got to stay healthy.
Right.
And what's amazing, Mike, could you bring that list up again?
Jared Allen's not a Hall of Famer, but he's been a Hall of Fame finalist 3 years in a row.
Okay.
And he was just short of the percentage to get in last
Like
year.
John Randall, I'm pretty sure is.
yes,
He is.
Marcus Ware.
just got in this year.
I mean, those guys mostly played on all-time teams, right? Like, they had a lot of talent around them. Obviously, this year, Myles has a way more talent around him than he has. But until this year, he had nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And he still was able to do it those 5 years. This year, okay. But, he's – what does he have now? 11 and a half?
11 sacks, which is tied for
11.
the league lead with Donnell Hunter of Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a legit shot to get 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how many more games they got left?
We're past the halfway point technically.
I mean,
He's got
he's
9
on
games
pace
left.
for – well, he has
8 games left. Sorry, 8 games.
8 games left. He has 11 in 9 games, which would mean in 8 games he should have like 9 or 10, right?
About 9, yeah. He's right on pace for
Right on
that
pace for
20
20.
range.
What's their NFL record? 24?
22 and a half.
He's got a shot.
I mean, he's going to have like a 4-sack game in there
Yeah.
to have a shot. He's going to have one
think
game
about
where
it.
he goes nuts.
The Bears, the Jets, those 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets, their offensive line's horrible.
Yeah.
Rams are going to throw the football a lot.
Well, by the time they play the Rams, they'll probably have that good rookie running back they were using early in the year who got hurt.
Kyron
Williams.
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
They signed Carson Wentz, right?
Yeah, but Stafford should be back after the bye.
If they want to put him in, unless they're tanking because they finally have their first draft pick since
Teams don't
2016.
tank. This idea that teams tank, they don't. The coaches don't tank. The players don't tank. The dumbest thing ever is that people said Arizona was tanking. If they were tanking, why'd they trade for Josh Dobbs and not just stick with Colt McCoy? If they were tanking, why'd they play Kyler Murray?
It's
not tanking.
It's kind of untenable for them to even get like Kyler Murray's
Only
contract
front
is
offices tank.
No, but I just think I thought Zadarius Smith played his best game too.
Yeah.
And
I think we need to spend a little extra time on Greg Newsome because
How about that?
That was-
How
that
about
was-
our boy?
that was a big play.
And not only the pick, but to stay in bounds and get it all the way back.
I
Because if
know.
you go back, because Zach actually mentioned that, he said that was incredible for him to be able to stay in bounds because for him to not step out and not get pushed out.
Yeah.
Really athletic.
I
play
mean,
by
think
him.
about this for a minute. Yes, after you had the heartbreak of the missed extra point, and at the time you thought it might cost you the game. But the Browns went from they're getting the ball back, down 7, Prochet fumbles.
Oh, that
Then
was
the Browns, it looked like 3 times we're going to hold the Ravens to a field goal. They kept getting hit with penalties. That was a weird, small drive that took forever. And the Ravens go back up 14. At that moment, there was, 12 minutes left, 11 minutes left? I can't remember the exact off the top of my head. Somewhere around there, between 11 and 12 minutes. You're down 14. You just fumbled. And you're like, okay, there's no way. And before you could blink, the Browns were down 14-0.
Yeah.
Before you could blink, they had it back to a 1-point game.
Yeah.
So that's why teams and coaches have you do stuff as a unit. That's why you do the outings to Aruba. That's why you do the cookouts over one of the veterans' house.
Yep.
You do those things. It is not because that's going to help you be better. You do those things so you don't have the mental and emotional shock when something like that happens. Because I just had to tell myself,
Yep.
oh yeah, you ain't built for it no more. And what do you mean? I don't have the intestinal fortitude to not be negative when that stuff happens. That's why they make you run laps and all that other stuff, because it builds you up. But when he dropped that rock, and Vilma, who I thought was Jonathan Vilma, was acting like he was the Baltimore Ravens chaplain at one point in time during the game. I'm like, dang, Vilma, you can like the Ravens, but come on.
He is horrible, Vilma.
Good gracious, Vilma.
He wasn't biased, but he's horrible.
He was just like, yeah.
He can't pronounce anybody's name. Like, you're professional. Can you learn? Stop calling him Koramusu or whatever the hell he was calling him.
He
When
called
he
Newsome
dropped
a
that-
backup
when he
quarterback
dropped
like
that
4
play-
different times.
I said, oh, I'm sick. I literally got sick. And the fact that when they missed the extra point too, and guys were coming up to him, Anthony Walker, patting him on the back, they had his back. They was like, no, don't worry about it. We'll get it back.
Yeah.
7 minutes. We good. We got this game in the bag.
Yeah, that was good the way the defense did that.
When he missed the kick, I was in the press box and I looked up at one of the Brown staffers like, "Are you kidding me?"
Here we go again.
And his response is like, "Well, I mean, they're going to have to make another kick to win it anyway, so it really isn't that big of a deal."
Yeah.
And, Bitonio said the same thing in the locker room after the game. He's like, "Yeah, and it kind of sucks in the moment, but you have to score again, so it's really not that big of a deal."
Yeah.
So, it was just funny that, 2 members of the organization had no contact with each other, both had the same mindset of it, it's like, well, okay, but we had to score again anyway. They're going to have to come up with the ball again to get the ball back and
it
score
was
again.
Huge that they needed him to kick to win the game as opposed to a touchdown.
Yeah.
Because
that's a race.
No matter how good a kicker is, you never know when a bad kick in a big spot is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could be great, and then all of a sudden it just completely falls apart.
I feel that. I feel like you could go up there with the greatest of intentions and accuracy, and it just don't go in.
Right. And in that case, he misses that extra point. And listen, before this year, he'd been an up-and-down kicker.
Yeah.
So you're like, uh-oh, if he now misses the game-winning field goal, it's a disaster not only for the game but for the season.
I don't know if you saw
Instead, that didn't happen.
He had a great line about it. He said he felt like an arsonist who set his own fire and then put it out. And everyone's congratulating him for putting it out. And he's like, well, I'm the one that said it.
He's being self-deprecating, which is great. But it was good that he still had the confidence because the other kick was, and were you guys panicking for a second when that flag was out there?
I was. Listen, I had to go change my underwear. I was like, no.
Did you notice the flag at the game?
Honestly, I didn't even watch the kick because I had the binoculars on the Browns sideline. I just wanted to watch the reactions.
Oh.
And it's funny because Kevin never watches the kick. On these big kicks
really?
that they've had, he watches. I keep meaning to ask him. I'm guessing for the angle, he just watches the scoreboard at the opposite end because they've got those big scoreboards on each end.
Right.
So he never watches the kick live. He turns around and watches the scoreboard.
That's funny.
So I was watching the Browns sideline. I didn't even see the flag. Someone else said flag.
Yeah.
And then the way they were celebrating, the officials came over to Kevin. It was clear that it was on Baltimore, and obviously they were going to decline it.
Because when you first see the flag, I'm like, oh, no.
I'm thinking, and so, like, now, I haven't seen it. Have you guys noticed this? Now that Myles Garrett jumped over everybody, people are jumping over everything now.
The Bengals did that. The Bengals did it against Houston. It didn't work.
But I thought he was close as hell.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing it more and more now often. but you know what's crazy? I didn't have that sinking dread in my stomach that he was gonna miss that.
No, I felt good, but I felt good.
like he was gonna
but
hit
then
that.
when the flag came out, I was like, oh no, this is how they lose.
This is it.
I'm like, no.
How do you hold on the field
Yeah.
goal? How do you do